Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, February 22nd. So last evening, we had the moon in Pisces go void, of course, at 11:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are locking into Aries energy here today, 15 minutes after midnight. So anytime that we are shifting out of Pisces energy into Aries energy, we feel revived. We feel like there's a spark, like there is hope, like there is an excitement. And whether we're able to actually put our finger on it or not is besides the point. We're coming out of the very emotional, very watery, very fluid energy of Pisces. Of course, the new moon in Pisces still very much lingering. And we're shifting into this boldness, this bravery, this courage. And because this is essentially the moon's brand new beginning in Aries energy, we're definitely going to start seeing some insights, some clarity, some details actually come into our vision. Now, the moon is just starting to illuminate itself once again in the night sky, which means that we are growing something. We are building something. And a lot of the insights that we were downloaded with that may not have made a whole lot of sense under the new moon in Pisces is definitely starting to come into our awareness. We're starting to make sense of it, and we're building ourselves up, ramping ourselves up, firing ourselves up to take a new direction. So there are 12 different aspects here today. Definitely a busy day here. This is the busiest day this week as of thus far. Of course, we are going to have another very busy day on Friday, but right now we are at the point midweek where we are going to have a little bit of I'm going to say exciting day in the cosmos for a couple of reasons. We'll cover that when we get to it. So the moon is going to semi-square Uranus right out of the gate. And of course, Uranian energy likes to shock us, likes to awe us, likes to disrupt us. Uranus, of course, is in Taurus energy, an earth sign, and the moon now in Aries energy, a fire sign. There's a little bit of friction here. This Aries moon definitely wants us to look ahead. We're not looking back. We want to look ahead. We are very eager to take action, to act on impulse. And the Uranian energy, although very supportive of change, is in Taurus energy, and it's a fixed sign. So although we are making changes, we're not making them as fast as the moon in Aries would prefer. And we have to go low and slow and kind of at a steadier pace in order for the foundation of what it is that we're building to actually be strong enough to house this next chapter, this next level that we will be manifesting on top of it. The sun goes ahead, bumps into Uranus very shortly after. This is a positive interaction though. So the sun in Pisces energy, Uranus in Taurus energy, this is a beautiful, I'm going to say, opportunity for us to visualize sun energy, life force energy, vitality, ego, action on what it is that we're conjuring up from here, what we're dreaming about, what we're fantasizing about, what creative ideas are coming up for us. We're in Pisces energy, so this is where the flow is definitely starting to peak. And the Uranian energy likes to give us a shock of brilliance, likes to give us beautiful ideas, new inspirations to work with, and we're able to actually ground them out in this Taurus energy that Uranus is in, which means that we're able to actually see the foundational pieces that are needed, the cornerstone pieces that are needed in order for us to build a solid foundation for us to bring some of these new ideas, this new inspiration into our physical realms and reality. The moon will semi-square Mercury. Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and communication and how it is that we express ourselves in Aquarian energy. So our lower and higher level of intelligence working in tandem to really try to piece things together to show us the bigger, broader picture on what it is that we're actually working towards, having shocks and aha moments and epiphanies in that mental plane. But this is a semi-square, so there's some tension here. The moon in Pisces, very introverted, very calm, cool, and collected. We're kind of stuck in our inner realm. We're not as active in the outer realm. And Mercury, of course, in Aquarian energy, we're just pushing in that outer realm in order to take action to make things better, to clean up the slate of the old, to start piecing together the elements of the new. And realistically speaking, this particular aspect is kind of suggestive that our heart and our head are not on the same page. Now, with the Aquarian energy that Mercury's in and the fire energy that the moon is in, this could really be a lot of restlessness, a lot of anticipation, a lot of anxiety. We have ants in our pants, but we're not on the same page. So emotionally, we're not feeling the same way that we're currently thinking, let's say. Our thoughts, our ideas, very different than what it is that we're in the state of feeling in our inner realm, because the moon in Aries, again, clean slate, wants a new beginning, wants to act out, wants to take action. And Mercury, who is in this logical, practical mind frame, in Aquarian energy, seeing the greater, grander vision of where it is that we're aiming to go, realizes, because in a fixed energy, Aquarian's a fixed energy, realizes we have to do things methodically. We have to do things with a strategy. We can't just act on impulse and worry about the consequences and the fallout later. That's what the moon in Aries wants us to do. We actually have to think. So our mind is saying, okay, let's slow these emotions down. Let's slow this enthusiasm, excitement, this impulse, these urges down, and let's get a little bit more methodical with how it is that we are going to strategize moving forward so that we can maintain this particular excitement. Now, the moon is going to conjunct with Venus. As you know, Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money, just moved into Aries energy literally 50 minutes after the new moon in Pisces peaked on the 20th. So Venus is in her brand new chapter. She's setting the tone for the next 13 months for us on figuring out what makes us happy, where joy and pleasure need to be a little bit more integrated in our day. We're taking a good look at our own self-worth, our own self-confidence, our own self-esteem. We are looking at our relationships, how it is that we're thinking and feeling about them. We're looking at our finances and how it is that we feel about them, and kind of illuminating for us where it is that we don't feel safe, where we don't feel secure, where we don't feel stable. And we're very quick to kind of cut things off and cut things out when we identify that they're not really helping the cause here in this Aries energy. And even more than that, we're very straightforward. We're very blunt. We're very matter of fact. Yes, this makes me happy. Yes, I want more of this. Yes, I want to create more of this. No, this does not make me happy. I have to change things around. I have to eliminate this, right? And in this Aries energy that Venus is now in, because it is the masculine energy that the feminine divine energy, Venus herself, is now kind of working through, she is looking forward. She is not looking back. And she is very quick to determine what it is that tickles her fancy at this particular point. And she will go after anything that intrigues her, that sparks excitement in her, that inspires her, that makes her feel reignited, renewed, brought back to life once again. So emotionally speaking, we are very fired up, very enthusiastic, very inspired to really kind of weed out the who and what makes us happy, what does not, and where it is that we want to create more elements of happiness, joy, and pleasure in our lives. The moon will make an awkward interaction with the sun, and this is an opportunity to see kind of where it is that we're coming from and where it is that we desire to go. And what that leaves us with is this overlap, this present moment in the here and now, where we are emotionally charging ourselves up to a level where we are aligned enough to actually take action on these new visions, new dreams, new ideas, new inspirations that the sun is shining very brightly on in this Pisces energy, mostly to do with spiritual and creative or healing efforts. The moon will bump into Mars in a very positive way. This is beautiful because Mars rules over the Aries energy that the moon is currently in. Mars, of course, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our inspiration, our motivation, our desires, even our anger if need be. Still very much in the intellectual battlefield in this Gemini energy, really kind of having us on the fence of where it is that we want to pour our energy, our time, our attention. The moon kind of blending its energies with Mars in this way is hyping us up all in the right ways. We are motivated to start something new. We are inspired to get this party started. We are really determined in order to make some changes and really put the past behind us. And even more than that, we are definitely at the cusp, at the precipice of kind of eliminating one of the topics, themes, choices, decisions, directions, paths that we've been debating between, because as you may know, we are kind of nearing the ending of the 7-month storyline that Mars has been in Gemini energy. And because of that, we're bridging the gap between the extremes that we've been kind of faced with, the inner conflict that we've been sitting with, the choices, the dualistic polarized choices that we've been sitting with. We're starting to eliminate one and really recognize that one particular path is calling our name. There's a mission, there's a purpose, there's a quest, there's an adventure there. And the moon in Aries kind of blending its energies with Mars right now in Gemini energy is the fire starter for our mental plane. What inspires us? What motivates us? What makes us excited? We're starting to get a little bit more clarity on what that particular path forward, that direction forward is going to look like. The moon will bump into the true node, though, in an awkward way that gives us a choice point. Now, remember that the true node in Taurus energy, we got to get on the right path. We got to build something new. We have to change our realities. We have to take a good look at our routines, our relationships, our money matters, our long-term plans and goals. And this particular aspect is a little bit of a conflict, only because we need the slow and steady steps forward in order to get on the right path so that we know that it's strong enough and stable enough to actually house us taking this new direction. The moon in Aries, again, very quick to just want to take action for the fun of it, to exert oneself, to aggress oneself out into the world. We want to act on impulse. We want to just, get the party started. So there is this little bit of conflict because, again, you have one aspect wanting to slow the roll. You have another aspect wanting to fast forward the roll. But even more than that, this is a choice point. And the choice point is us really firmly committing to one path, one idea, one goal over the other. Now, here's where things get very interesting. Mercury, who is the ruler of the mental plane, rules over information, communication, and expression in the Aquarian energy, the highest level of our intellect, trines, beautiful, beautiful harmonization of energies with Mars in Gemini energy. We get air on air action here. This is what gives us our trine. And this is definitely going to add some pressure into the mental plane. We have some very aggressive thoughts coming up. Now, I don't necessarily mean bad thoughts. I mean, like, we are hyped up, can't talk us out of it. We are aligned with a certain idea, a certain thought, a certain vision, a certain goal. Even more than that, we're expressive in our speech. We're aggressive in our speech. We ain't messing around. There's no bullshit. This is matter of fact. This is the way that it is. That's how we're presenting these new thoughts. This is how we're presenting our inner realm to the outer realm. This is stimulating the thoughts that we are definitely aligned with, that now we're preparing to take action on. This is hyping us up. This is putting us in a very confident, very motivated, very enthusiastic tone or point of view or perspective or attitude. We have a lot of passion coming up, a lot of excitement coming up, and you're going to feel that in your communication, in your conversations. And we're definitely a little bit more on the ball than we have been over the last couple of days. We have a sharpness to us, which is both good and bad. We can be quick-witted, and that's a great thing. We can be, funny and entertaining and have those comebacks and have those, sharp thoughts. However, if we're not careful, quick wittiness, sharp thoughts, sharp response doesn't leave a whole lot of room for, I'm going to say, thought or filters. And therefore, we're just on the verge of being able to recognize how our sharpness, our fast reply could get us in trouble because we're not really thinking, we're reacting. That's what we get with Mars energy. We react. We don't respond, we react. And it's very ego-based, very unconscious-based, And that's where, genius comes from. It's also where conflict comes from. So we have to be very careful on how we let that manifest. But overall, this is a beautiful aspect that will definitely help us define what it is that we're getting hyped up about, that we're excited about, that we are preparing to take action on, which I think is a good thing. It means that we're gaining some clarity. The moon will come up to, bump into, sit next to Jupiter, the planet of growth, the planet of expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings. This is our wisdom. This is the spiritual life lessons that we've been through, and where it is that we're gaining this spiritual wisdom, and where it is that we can apply the spiritual wisdom to the here and now, and where it is that we can, kind of see the greater, grander picture on what it is that needs to play out. So emotionally speaking, Aries energy, very fiery, very excitable, very enthusiastic, bold and brave and courageous. And Jupiter is here to just magnify that. Turn the volume all the way up on that. Now, let me just say, you could feel overwhelmed with wanting to take action and wanting to act on impulse. You could feel like you are taking on the world. Maybe you're overcommitting to something. Jupiter means that he brings a little bit extra to the stage, to the platform, to the forefront. And he just exaggerates whatever state that we're emotionally in. So let's hope that we can stay on the positive side of Aries energy. The not so positive side would be anger, frustration, irritability. So watch out for that. But I think this is a positive vibe, especially coming off of the Mercury trine Mars energy. I think we're going to be hyped up. I think we're going to be confident. I think we're just going to, really just run with these new ideas, these goals, these dreams, these visions that we just had. And I think we're just going to likely dream too big of a dream. But you know what? At this point, you may as well dream big and learn to refine instead of not dreaming big enough and limiting yourself on what is possible for you. So let's just ride that wave. The moon will make a very harmonious aspect with Pluto, the great transformer who is in Capricorn energy. So what I love about this is, first of all, it's going to give us a little bit of passion, a little bit of fire, a little bit of flair to make a dramatic change in our attitude. And I would say that just the moon shifting out of Pisces into Aries alone is a game changer for our attitude. But the Plutonian energy works on the psyche. And the minute that we can flip a switch in our psyche and see things differently and kind of boss us up into a new narrative, we shift our emotions. And when we shift our emotions and we shift our psyche and they're on the same page, then we can go ahead and engage the physical body to take action. Now, Pluto is in Capricorn energy. So, we're in the boss energy of Capricorn. And Pluto energy wants us to take control, wants us to boss up, wants us to take authority over our lives. And we have no problem doing that with the moon in Aries because we're headstrong. We are direct. We are just fused with the fire that we need in order to burn a fire under our ass, to take the initiative, to make some changes, first in our inner realm, second to our outer realm. And I see this as being a positive shift in the right direction in order for us to realize where it is that we need to be more confident in taking the leadership role and taking our power back and actually being the boss of our own lives. Now, just when we get a little bit positive, a little bit hype, a little bit ahead of ourselves, granted, it's going to take a couple of hours in order for this shift to happen, but we're going to have the wind knocked out of our sails just a tad. And the reason why is because the moon in Aries is going to semi-square tension, conflict with Mr. Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who really brings the negative Nancy narrative out. Why is that? Well, because we're hyped up. We just had this realization of what it is that we're excited to pursue, what it is that we're inspired and motivated in order to actually go after. But now it's like, this is the reality check. Like, do you know all that you're going to have to do? Where are you going to get the energy? Where are you going to get the money? Where are you going to get the people? Where are you going to get the effort? Where's your support? How are you going to do all of these new things while still tending to all of the mundane tasks and chores of your old roles and responsibilities? How are you going to wrap up old karmic chapters in order to jump into new ones? This is where our mental plane kind of gets a little bit negative, a little bit of a Debbie Downer, and emotionally speaking, this is likely going to bring up a lot of frustration. a lot of agitation, because we don't want to think about that. The hype energy of the moon being in Aries just wants us to, push forward. We can tackle anything. We'll cut through the blockages, the challenges, and the obstacles. But here's Mr. Saturn giving us a little bit of a reality check, bringing us down a couple of pegs, which, after that aspect with Jupiter, we might have been a little bit extra and overinflated and extra exaggerated anyways. But we just need to tone it down a notch. And of course, the moon in Aries doesn't like being told what to do. Sure as hell doesn't like to be told to, cut it down a notch or turn it down a notch. All systems are go with the moon in Aries. And, you don't mess around with Saturn, the Lord of Karma. He's like the grandfather that was in the military for years. He loves you, but he's probably going to, give you the tough love that you need, right? So this is what we're getting here. And then literally only 4 minutes later, the moon is going to come up to, bump into, and conjunct with Chiron, the wounded healer, who of course is in Aries energy as well. And this could go a couple of ways. I would say coming out of this particular aspect where Saturn, kind of dampens the mood a bit, I would say that we're likely going to tap into the not so positive qualities and characteristics of this particular interaction, which means that now we might be fearful. We might be insecure. We might be doubting ourselves. There's insecurities there. There's fears there. We're not feeling so hype. We're not feeling so enthusiastic. We're not feeling so confident. And this is when we kind of sit in our wounds, right? Because those aren't pleasant. They're not really that fun. But what we will do is we'll realize while sitting in this funk where it is that we got to change this narrative up, where it is that we got to change our focus up in order to build ourselves back up from falling down in this deep, dark hole that, of course, Saturn kind of tripped and pushed us in order for us to take a time out to kind of regroup, to stabilize, to ground out, and just realize where it is maybe that we got a little bit ahead of ourselves, that we bit off more than we can chew, and where it is that we just have to come back down to earth just a tad. Now, the positives of this is that the illumination of the wounds will lead to healing. They will lead to growth. They will lead to repair. And we're in Pisces season, so that's what we're here to do, is to kind of cleanse ourselves from the old, from the funky, from the heaviness, from the weight, and transform ourselves through the, I'm going to say, metamorphic process that Pisces energy pushes us into in order to heal certain parts of ourselves that, of course, we could do without, especially speaking doubts and fears and insecurities into our excitement and into our dreams.